Hi everybody, welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I want to give some first thoughts about Ming's just now announced 37.05 Moonphase watch. So I'll throw some images up on the screen that Ming has released, so I just received news. I'd already been notified that they were getting ready to do an announcement. Today I finally got to see the photos, and essentially what's going on is Ming has a new line, and the 37.05 is the first of that. So in terms of what's happening, it's just to give some basics about the watch out of the way. First, in terms of the sales, I believe on November 25th, they're going to start selling watches to existing Ming owners. And then the next day, November 26th, 2021, will be general access to the watch. There'll be 150 reserved for the existing owners, 350 for general access, total watch allocation of 500 watches. And the price will be 4,950 Swiss francs. So let's talk a bit about the specs of the watch now. The functionality, I noted it's a Moonphase watch, but in addition, it does have a date window. This is a first for Ming as well. And of course, hours and minutes, no seconds hand. Case size is going to be 38 millimeters. Thickness, they indicate is going to be 11.9 millimeters. It's going to be a stainless steel watch. We'll have domed sapphire crystals for both the front and the rear, so you will be able to see the movement. In terms of water resistance, we're looking at 100 meters. Lug width is 20 millimeters. In terms of the dial, the main dial, I guess, as we could think of it, is made of metal. It does have a blue to black gradient style, which Ming indicates is shooting for sort of a night sky aesthetic. And you can see the textured patterning that's achieved with that. And then, similar to the 1709, we've also got laser etched sapphire, where the indices are printed. And those, indices are filled with Lume. Again, much like the 1709 had. So in terms of a movement, they chose to go with the Sellita SW288. This is a manual wind movement. It is modified, to some degree, I believe, as near as I could tell, just to really make it look visually more impressive, given it does have a display case back. So this is being noted as the Ming 288.M1 movement. So it's got some skeletonized bridges and some contrast and brushing going on. So it's a better finished movement than you would expect out of a typical Sellita. In terms of the movement power reserve, it's estimated to be approximately 38 hours. So let's talk just a little bit about it. So overall, I like the look of this watch, though I don't necessarily agree with all of the design choices that they've run with. So the Moonphase, and I believe much like this is the first watch Ming has done with a date, I believe this is the first watch they've done with a Moonphase. So the way they've got it is the full moon is supposed to completely encircle that disc area where the phase is located, and and it will glow luminously when you're in a full moon state. So you've got a complete ring that's accessible for the user. And then beneath that, at the 6 o'clock position, they've gone with a date window. And they've indicated, and I do agree, it does preserve symmetry. I'm not a huge fan of the inclusion of the date window. They've made it super subtle. I mean, this date does not stand out. In fact, if anything, it's too hard to read. But again, going with that aesthetic, they've chosen that they want to incorporate a date window for, I assume, some degree of functionality. But they've tried to blend it in as best they could. And I think they've done a pretty good job getting it blended in. Case-wise, the specs on the sizing seem pretty similar as near as I can tell. So this 37 series of watches that Ming is doing, they have stated this will be a core product line. And they're expecting to do special projects with it. They're expecting to have entry-level watches with it. And so we will see a wide range of the 37 series coming out of Ming in the upcoming years. They have made some changes regarding what used to be the 17 series case in terms of, how it's curved. It's got multiple finishes on it. And the dial opening is bigger now. And that's, at least as near as I could tell, that's the biggest change, is that the dial opening is bigger. So even though we're still talking a 38 millimeter watch, and the 20 millimeter lug width, which has been consistent, I believe, with most of the Ming products that they've had, or at least compared to the 17 series. The idea is it should look a little bit bigger, even though it actually will wear the same on the wrist, thanks to that larger dial opening. I think that's probably a wise choice. My take would be if Ming has an issue, a problem, as it were, with buyers, it's probably that size skews on the smaller end, and there are some people that just They're not, when you're talking sub 40 millimeter, you start to rule out people. So, but if the visual presence is larger, I think some people that might have liked the design aesthetic of Ming, but just felt it wore too small on the wrist, maybe, even though it's the same size, so I don't know, but maybe with that dial being a little bit bigger openings, it'll just feel larger to people, and they don't think it'll look as odd on those larger wrist sizes. So I like what they're doing again with the Lume. I do have a 1709. I have one of the Messina Lab collaboration watches, and I loved the idea of the Lume, the laser etched sapphire crystal with the Lume for the indices. I don't know how bright it will ultimately be. It looks great in the photos with the Messina Lab Ming collab. It's not very bright. So it's fine. I mean, it's functional, completely functional, but the hands are so much brighter than the rest. It doesn't look balanced to me. And again, it's such a minor issue. It's a quibble I wouldn't worry over, but if I don't know for sure that this is going to be as consistent on the Lume, like everything kind of looking the same brightness as it appears in photos, versus what it will appear in real life. Like, I like what they're doing with the case, aside from the date and me not being a huge fan of it. And actually, I know a lot of people say don't like 4 o'clock and 4:30 dates. 6 o'clock dates are probably my least favorite. You do preserve the symmetry, which is really good, but it's just something I associate with even the most basic of movements. It's kind of like that. If you don't know, throw it in the 6 o'clock and you don't have to think sort of thing. So that's probably a bit unfair, but it's just an impression I have. Don't like the change of the circle at the 12. I always liked the circle at the 12 o'clock position on the prior Mings. And this is more, I'm going to call it a heart shape. Or to me, it looks like a guitar pick. So it's fine. It's odd. I don't know why they went that way. And, to me, the O kind of made sense because, midnight or 0 o'clock, the O could be construed in a way as a 0 that they used to do on the watches on the other series. And so I just thought it fit better. Plus the circle is more, this is symmetrical, but, the perfection of a circle, all that going around the ring of the watch. I do like that the Ming logo on the crystal is at the 6 o'clock. I think that's better than on some watches where they put it like at the 3, for example. I think it's better placed here. So overall, I really like the look of this watch. One other thing though I will note is, I do really question the decision to go manual wind with it. And on their write-up on their website, Ming indicates that the decision for a manual wind was to give more interaction for the user to play with their watch, essentially, which is fine. And they do say that the date and the Moonphase have quick set options. But I don't know how quick set is in the sense of a Moonphase. I've never owned a Moonphase. I think most of what I've read about, most of the time people with Moonphases or automatic watches, you can put them on winders so you don't have to worry about keeping the Moonphase in sync. So given this is a manual wind, it doesn't have a particularly robust power reserve either. My concern would be that if you don't wear it all the time, or this was a watch that's going to be in rotation, obviously you cannot put it on a winder. So you're either going to be constantly resetting the date, which is minor, and the Moonphase, which I don't know if it's minor or not, versus if you just didn't have it at all. Clearly with this watch and the whole aesthetic that they're going with the dial, I think the Moonphase is critical. They could probably have shed the date. In fact, I think they should have shed the date. But the decision to incorporate a Moonphase, I get it. The decision to do manual wind, I don't get it. Normally when I see manual wind, I think they're going to reduce thickness. But this watch, it's not overly thick as it is, but this thickness size would accommodate, it would accommodate automatic movements. So I just think it's an odd choice, but clearly it's one they went with. But that's all I really have to say about it. Obviously we'll be watching to see when additional 37 series watches come out of Ming. We'll see how creative they get. Obviously we know where they've gone with the case size at this point. Delivery of these 500 watches are expected to start in essentially mid to late summer, or they're saying July 2022. So sort of midsummer, wrapping it up by the end of September. They're hoping to get them all shipped out. So it is a ways out for people who choose to buy. I won't be attempting to buy one of these watches at the price point. I don't even know if I want a Moonphase, quite frankly. So I've never been in the market for one. But it's an interesting look, and I'm pleased to see it. And that's really all I have to say about it. So thanks everyone for watching these first thoughts on the video. If you appreciated them, please give the video a like. I would appreciate that. And if you would like to be notified of additional videos, please give the channel a subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. And otherwise, I'll just say have a great day, everybody. Take care.